This needs to have been deliberated for a while, in my opinion. Interesting thing is that MBS was close to Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner when he took office and throughout Trump's administration. Kushner, according to emails that have since surfaced, was also advocating for stablecoins, such as an official US dollar stablecoin. In my opinion, it was similar to a blog article by Sam Altman that he had shared with Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin prior to Circle's launch discussing the USD coin USDC. Quite intriguing. This may not have been happening as recently as headlines have made it seem. It's likely that these conversations took place a while ago. Traders looking for indications of more upside pushed Bitcoin's price around $1,630,000 during the Wall Street Open on July 15th. Peter Brand, a well-known trader, speculated that Bitcoin's chart might be following its classic hump, slump, bump, dump, dump, pump, pump pattern, which indicates the duration of a correction. The most probable outcome at this point is that bears are caught, as he pointed out, since the attempt at a double top on July 5th was verified by the close on July 13th. A closing price below $1.56,000 would render this analysis null and void. Others were more certain that Bitcoin would continue its previous pattern of activity. For his former followers, the Bitcoin downturn ended on July 15th. He attached a chart showing the market activity after Bitcoin's most recent block subsidy in April, showing that history repeats itself. Bitcoin bulls received a new lift on July 15th from a well-known macro source in addition to the markets themselves. Larry Fink, Chief Executive Officer of BlackRock and the biggest asset manager in the world, recently admitted to changing his mind about Bitcoin and restated his renewed conviction in it in an interview with CNBC. "I was skeptical, as you know. I was an outspoken skeptic," he said. "After doing some research, I realized that my previous belief formed 5 years before was incorrect. Today, I have this opinion. Right now, this is my belief. I think today is a great opportunity." He went on to say that Bitcoin in particular was legal. When it comes to assets under management, BlackRock's ETH exchange-traded fund is now the biggest in the world for spot Bitcoin. Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchun responded to the interview by saying that Larry Fink's continued fervent affirmations of Bitcoin as a legitimate asset class for everyday portfolios are extremely significant. Fink is in charge of $1.10.6 trillion. "The early success of these ETFs is a clear indicator," he said, "and Boomer advisors feel comfortable allocating their clients' money to them because they buy from BlackRock and other heritage corporations like Fidelity." Just one thing I'd like to add: the US has gone to war and killed millions of people to maintain the petrodollar system, which has been the standard for retaining the dollar as the global reserve currency. Of course, there were other factors at play, but I'd argue that Saddam Hussein's decision to begin selling oil in euros rather than dollars just before the war was a major factor in the decision to invade Iraq. Selling in currencies other than the dollar could yield higher profits for other OPEC members. And then there's the 2011 Libyan situation when Gaddafi was peddling a gold-backed currency called the dinar to African nations, many of which utilize the dollar or French financial stuff as backup. That is why the United States and France were mostly responsible for executing the disastrous regime change operation. Some refer to Libya as an example of or cause for the subsequent out-of-control immigration in Europe. The country went from being the safest in Africa to the most dangerous. In some instances, the United States government, or more accurately, the United States empire, is prepared to do whatever it takes to protect the dollar. If they didn't have a strategy, they would essentially do nothing and allow dollarization to occur. This was done with the full awareness that it couldn't continue forever and that the world's economy will eventually transition away from oil. Because the dollar provides so many benefits to the United States alone, I think it's critical to remember that these people have been extremely serious, played dirty, and caused tremendous instability in order to maintain it as the global reserve currency. Even if it requires a new system, I have no doubt that they want to maintain those benefits. Maybe you have something to say about that, but I'm not sure. Concerning the tether play, I would want to make an additional argument. From my perspective, it's quite similar, but done backwards from Elon Musk's approach. Because of the stablecoin, Tether initially had capital. I am aware that they are investing in brain chips and satellites. Musk has taken over a social media platform, possibly to get access to user data, and he is also working on brain implants and satellites. His current focus is on transforming TwitterX into a bank, which he envisions as constituting half of the financial system. He has been rather forthright about this goal. What is causing that to occur? It's quite strange. Being a co-founder of PayPal naturally entails all these link-ups, yet it all starts to feel like. That being said, while now many of the most influential people in the Bitcoin community have been arguing that this is the answer to the problems caused by careless government spending and central bank policies, and any kind of fiat or debt-based monetary system, what does this mean for the system that plans to utilize it to prolong the dollar by yoking it to it? Companies who solely deal in Bitcoin are currently stealing heavily from Tether with the intention of using the dollars to fortify Bitcoin. Therefore, I think people should be asking themselves this question seriously. However, you cannot simultaneously claim that fiat currency and central banks are evil before forming a loose alliance with the same system. Well, it's just strange, isn't it? Personally, I believe that to be true.